Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well today. Welcome to the second video of the day. If you didn't catch the first video of the day, that was all about Xabi Alonso leaving Bayer Leverkusen, making the announcement himself in the press conference, and he's obviously heading off to Real Madrid. So you can go and check that video out if you didn't catch it already. Make sure you have a look and enjoy. In fact, there is a little bit of an update in that whole saga to do with Real Madrid at the end of this video. So make sure you stick around to the end to find out what it is. Let's start off though with the big elephant in the room. And that is these guys. Well, obviously we know those lot. We are those lot. We're not these lot, but technically now we are also these guys. Why? Because Chelsea and Strasbourg are owned by the very same people. And to be fair to a different structure and circumstance to other clubs that might share ownerships mainly, except for like Nottingham Forest, for example, where the owner owns Nottingham Forest and also owns Olympiacos. The City Group, for example, own 100% of Manchester City, but only own 41% of Girona. With Blue Co owns all of Chelsea and all of Strasbourg. And because of this, with the event that both teams might be playing Champions League football, it has risen questions as to whether that is going to be allowed and whether UEFA are going to allow it, or are they going to intervene and probably ban one team from competing. And who would it be? Well, I have an update and I've got news, and it seems like both can play in the Champions League together, but under one condition. So without further ado, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's get into the details, starting off with Nizar Kinsella. Blue Co, owners of Chelsea and Strasbourg, have a structure ready should both clubs qualify for the Champions League or Europa League. It will be almost identical to how City, Girona or United Nice was handled, right? On top of this, Nizar Kinsella goes on to say, Chelsea's owners, Blue Co, have been in conversation with UEFA since January about setting up a compliant structure. Strasbourg is expected to move into a blind trust, removing any conflicts like board members or staff working across the two clubs. I'm going to get into the detail very, very shortly, as I do have to show you what I'm going to show you. But as it's been illustrated, similarly to how other clubs have done it, this is exactly what Nottingham Forest have already done. Okay, and this is, now it's answering my question that I asked a few days ago when I gave you that video about Chelsea and Blue Co, if they're going to be allowed to compete in the Champions League together or any competition together. And I did say, well, if we adopt what Nottingham Forest have done, which is place one, which is going to be Strasbourg, like I said, it was never going to be Chelsea, into a trust, then how long does that take? Because Nottingham Forest have already done it. What's the owner's name? Forgot the geezer's name. Is it Malanikos or something like that? Anyway, he's Greek. But he has already done that. It's already done. He's already removed himself from Nottingham Forest, technically, right? On paper. But obviously he's still the owner. So I had questions as to how long would that take? Have we been doing anything? Are things ready just in case? Are we going to do it now? Are we going to do it later? What? Well, yeah, now we know. Now we know Nizar Kinsella told us that January was the time that conversations started being made. So it's good to see that a structure is in place. Okay. I'm guessing it doesn't take too long. If not, it would have already been triggered just in case, right? So surely it doesn't take too long. In the event that we both do qualify, I'm guessing it's a pretty quick process. And then all shall be good. But what does it entail? What's the detail? How do you separate the two clubs? I'm going to go through all the detail. We have it in black and white for all of you. So then we can all understand exactly what's going on. So, how it works. Let's get into it. This is how it works. Strasbourg is placed under an independent trust, removing all operational input from Blue Co. Blue Co must create and purpose the blind trust, right? It's their responsibility to prove to UEFA that they've eliminated influence. UEFA does not assign or create the structure. They only review and approve it. This is all going to be Blue Co's doing. Blue Co need to form the trust somewhere, or just say there's a trust, right? What's the trust? Where is it? But they got to get it all together. And then place Strasbourg into that trust and prove on paper that no one at Blue Co has anything to do with Strasbourg. Now, obviously, every Tom, Dick and Harry knows Blue Co have everything to do with Strasbourg. Much like everyone knows the owner of Olympiacos has everything to do with Nottingham Forest. But on paper, yeah, this is why this whole rule is stupid. If I'm going to be honest, this whole rule is dumb. Because there's ways around it, and the owners are the same. We're lying to ourselves here, let's be honest, yeah? We're all lying to ourselves. This is absolute ridiculous bureaucracy. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You know? What, like Blue Co are actually going to get rid of all control of Strasbourg? It's not going to happen. Or the Nottingham Forest owner has actually left Nottingham Forest. No, he hasn't. This is just a workaround for 1 year, so then the competition can be played, then that's it. You know? It is stupid. Anyway, let's get into more. So UEFA only reviews and approves it. What needs to be done is Blue Co need to appoint Strasbourg-only directors with no links to Chelsea at all. James Pade, Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley will need to resign from the Strasbourg board or become purely advisory, no voting power, which is more than likely what's going to happen here. They will be deemed as non-executives. They will be deemed as advisory members, and that's it. They're not actually on the Strasbourg board. But as soon as Strasbourg get eliminated, and Strasbourg are, well, we'll see if they maintain qualification of the Champions League. Who knows? I say, it's funny, I say if Strasbourg get eliminated. What if we get eliminated? You know, like, we got to be honest here. Then whichever way it happens, right, they'll just be all reappointed back to the Strasbourg board and everything will be lifted, basically. That's what's going to happen. Anyway, there's more. So, once that's done, then they have to maintain separate technical staff, scouting and strategy units. Blue Co would avoid using all three loans between Chelsea and Strasbourg if both might enter UEFA competitions. That's a very key thing to bear in mind here in terms of avoiding using all three loans. If that's the case, then look, it means Petrovic, Santos, who else have we got there? They're all coming back. We can't maintain loans. And I don't think anything can happen after that. So if we're both in the same competition, then at that point, I don't think we can loan to Strasbourg. That needs to be taken into consideration for the summer transfer window, based on who we've actually got in the squad, if we do both make Champions League. Because at that point, you now don't have the option of loaning players who we know we want to loan out to Strasbourg. We're going to have to find other clubs for them. So you have to bear things in mind. UEFA expect complete independence in operations, strategy and football decisions. Now for Strasbourg, this is actually all right because they've got the president that is still in place over there that was there before Blue Co. They've got, what's his name? Is it Keller? I think it's Keller, or I forgot his name. And then they've got another person as well that's up in the hierarchy who was at Strasbourg before Blue Co, you know, showed up. So at this point, things will more than likely be handed to them on paper. And then that's it. Paul Winstanley, Lawrence Stewart will be removed because they work at Strasbourg too. They'll be removed. They'll be given advisory roles, I'm guessing, surely. I don't think they'll be resigning, you know. And then at that point, that's it. Strasbourg will left to be run on their own, which is obviously not true. This is why. Obviously, things are going to be controlled by Blue Co, but they just officially and on paper cannot be done by Blue Co. They have to be done via someone, and that is going to be, I'm guessing, the Strasbourg president and whoever they've got in place at Strasbourg at the moment. So I know there's Strasbourg fans that obviously they don't want Blue Co. They're against Blue Co. completely, and they've suffered at the hands of the structure that they don't want for their football club. I'm sure they won't fall for this. to make it seem like, oh yeah, Blue Co have gone. Like, no, Blue Co have not gone. Just in case, if any Strasbourg fans are thinking, you know, oh no, yeah, they're leaving, then they're not. But that's how the trust forms, basically. That is how the trust is going to be done. It's fully independent. So basically, that is what's going to allow both Chelsea and Strasbourg to coexist in the Champions League. Doesn't sound too difficult, does it? So that's that. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll see when this is done. I'm guessing that everyone is waiting to see whether Chelsea and Strasbourg actually make Champions League first. Because at that point, then this can all be initiated. If not, it's just a waste of time. We'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts. It's the only way around for anyone asking. I don't see any other way around it. That's the only way around it. And it's the same model that other clubs have adopted or other owners have adopted for their own clubs too. So let me know your thoughts. Now, let's shift over to a little rumour. There's a little birdie in the rumour mill telling us things. Gianluigi Donnarumma, 26, is likely to leave PSG if a new contract is not agreed this summer, according to Fabrizio Romano. Just saying. What's that club? Oh yeah, Chelsea. You know, pick up the phone. I mean, I'd take Donnarumma tomorrow if I could. Top class goalkeeper. Yeah, top class. Some would say not the best in the world. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm not looking for the best in the world, right? That's okay. But one of the best? Yes, please. And he's 26. He's not 35, is he? You know, at this point, I would take Sommer. I would take Jan Sommer. I really would. But he's 37. So that's a bit of a problem. Donnarumma, though, perfect young player with loads of experience that actually has a top level and is about, I don't know, 60 million feet tall and can actually be a very, very, very good goalkeeper. That's one to keep an eye on. If Chelsea are serious, that is one to keep an eye on, just in case. Just in case. That's the sort of goalkeeper you get in and then you don't need to worry for the next 10 years. You actually do not need to worry. And goalkeepers last long. We'd be sorted. Donnarumma, and you know what? We actually had an opportunity to sign Donnarumma before Blue Co, if you remember. But he was a lot younger. So, it is what it is. Anyway, that's that. Let me know your thoughts on that. Now, Real Madrid. Carlo Ancelotti. We've got the scoop on what is going on now. How is it all going to end? Now that we know that Xabi Alonso is moving to Real Madrid, how is it going to end for Carlo? Don Carlo, here it is. Carlo Ancelotti and Real Madrid will part ways with a formal exit steps to follow after El Clasico. It's over. No issues on extra season salary, as Ancelotti never created any problems on that. The Italian coach will get a huge farewell as a legend, and then Xabi Alonso in. And he is a legend. You know, let's be real. He has won everything there is to win. The man is an absolute flipping juggernaut of football management ever. And he is the Don. It's the right time to go, though. It's the right time to end it. There's no more that he can possibly offer to Real Madrid. He's done everything. They've done everything with him. They've hit a roadblock. Everything has to come to an end. At some point, everything has to come to an end. That's just the reality of life. Nothing is infinite, except, you know, depending if you're religious or not. The afterlife, that's infinite. You know? But everything is finite. Everything ends. Whether it's good or bad, everything ends. So Carlo Ancelotti, his time has to come at some point, and it is now. So Xabi Alonso walks in, but those are the steps. I'm looking forward to seeing what the big farewell is going to look like. He deserves a massive farewell. 2 stints as Real Madrid manager, has been absolutely incredible. Won everything, and deserves one hell of a farewell before he heads off to the Brazilian national team, which I'm guessing will be one of, if not his last job. Maybe after Brazil he does Italy and he ends with Italy, and then that's it. He calls a. I'm expecting that. Carlo Ancelotti not managing his country would be an international war crime. You know, it's like Mourinho not managing Portugal, or eventually Pep not managing Spain. That one might be a little bit touch and go. There's a whole Spain-Catalan thing that might stop that from happening. But we'll see what happens. These sort of managers, though, they do deserve to end by managing their nations. So we'll see, but I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all going to look like. Ancelotti leaving Real Madrid, and the steps will begin after the El Clasico this weekend, which we are doing a watch-along for. So on Sunday, I'm doing Newcastle-Chelsea, and then after that, I'm doing the review. After that, El Clasico, because that game could determine, basically, pretty much, who wins La Liga. If Barca win, it's mathematically, it's not over yet, but it's on the brink of being over. At that point, you basically, Madrid need a miracle. But if Madrid beat Barca, oh, it's all back on. It's on like Donkey Kong, and it will probably go to the wire. So we're doing Clasico as well. Liverpool-Arsenal are also playing, but that game means nothing. So I think I'm just going to cover the Clasico and then go from there. Now, to end, I think it's only right that we actually, I want to show you something. I want to show you something because it hits very nicely, right? It hits very nicely. Let me show you what one of our Conference League opponents actually said after we reached the Conference League final. Here they are. So Noah, FC Noah, yes, Noah's Ark, said, congratulations to our friends at Chelsea for advancing to the UEFA Conference League final, yeah? These lot have been, I mean, at first it was shameless. At first, I say at first. And then it actually became quite wholesome, you know? Well, because they're so wholesome and because they've held up this gimmick for the entire season and they actually want to be our friends, right? They want to be associated with us. Fair play to them. They see the long-term vision. Because we're Chelsea Football Club. I think it's only right we return the favour. No? So, here's what FC Noah, Noah's Ark, have done. Noah's Ark has officially conquered the league for the first time ever in only its eighth year since the club's foundation, while chilling on top during most of the season. First of many. And there it is. There's Noah's Ark in all its glory with all the other teams that can't compete. Big up. Big up to FC Noah. Yeah? Big up to Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark who have won the league, right, in Armenia. They are the 2024-25 Armenian Premier League champions. So from us to all of you in Noah's Ark, we are very happy to see your Ark actually managed to withstand an 8-0 and it didn't actually sink. It went on to win the league and we are very happy for you. So FC Noah, from us to you, congratulations and long may this continue. And it's the first of many league titles that you shall get and you will be able to bring on board to your wonderful Ark. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing more. So congrats to Noah's Ark. And that concludes today's video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hope all of you are well. And I will see all of you tomorrow for the preview for Newcastle versus Chelsea. As well as, we'll see if there's going to be a double upload. If there is, just subscribe, keep the bell on, make sure you're here and you'll see everything as it uploads. So I'll catch all of you then. Thank you so much, people. Look after yourselves. See you tomorrow. Take care and peace.